Welcome, guys. It is me, Stephen Billings, Andrew Grabal. We're here for another episode of The Unwatched Pile, the crazy show where we just dive into our collection.
You're
Andrew, give
really
me a face.
overselling it there. Really overselling it. Way to go.
That was my Nicolas Cage. Crazy
Remind,
show.
remind, reminds me of that scene of Matchstick Men when he's at the pharmacy and he just goes nuts. And I'm like, have you ever been to a pharmacy late at night in a crazy town? You find a lot of people like Nicolas Cage there, just wandering around and waiting for their prescriptions to be filled.
Well, I won't do that. I won't. No more Nicolas Cage. Unless somebody's talking Nicolas Cage tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But here we are on another episode of the Unwatched Pile, the show where we delve into our vast collections of physical media, pull out the stuff that we have not seen, and finally watch it, talk about it a little bit, and then not only do we do that, but we pair it with something in our collection that we've already seen that we're like, that feels good. That feels good as a double feature. And of course, we always bring a guest along with us. And this week, we bring back an old friend. He was on with us on he came on an episode Chasing Labels back in the day. He is now going to join us on our other show here, Mr. Doug McCambridge. How you doing, man?
All right, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Oh,
I'm
fantastic.
a little dark here. I know this is.
Oh, yeah.
This is on, those internets where people can see it. So there we go. I'll brighten it up a little bit.
A little brighter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, just using my laptop screen. That's the professional way to do lighting, right?
Yeah.
Just okay. All right. Okay.
I'm using just lighting in on my ceiling, ceiling lighting.
You know what? You look great. It must be wonderful ceiling lighting.
I'm right under one, so it just blasts my head, so it just shines right at you.
I don't have a lot of light in my room either. It could be better.
I've got a not professional lighting kit, but I have a proper lighting kit. It just I get too lazy to set it all up with the stands and all the adjustments and whatnot. So I just roll with this.
It's just a YouTube show. It's okay.
Yeah,
I totally get it though, but you made that investment, and to just have it sit in a corner and not use it. It's almost like movies that are part of our collection that we haven't yet watched.
Very true.
He's getting into it. But before we get into the Unwatched Pile, of course, Doug has his own podcast. Good Times, Great Movies. They delve into tons of great 80s films. Please tell everybody that if they're seeing you for the first time, tell us about your podcast, please.
It's an 80s movie podcast. Good Times, Great Movies. We can be found, of course, anywhere that you get your podcasts. We really run the gamut, and there's no rhyme or reason for what we do. We're 8+ years into this, and I still don't even know what we're doing. Like we recently covered Sea of Love with Al Pacino and Ellen Barkin and The Fabulous Baker Boys. These are like movies that are made for adults. These are not the normal movies that we get into, but we have fun with it. We kick around movies, kind of drag them through the mud, whether they're deserving of it or not. We cover amazing movies that I love, like RoboCop, but man, is it silly and easy to make fun of. Down to just the worst stuff you could ever imagine from that decade. So, I mean, I don't see us. We will end the podcast when my co-host has had enough. When she hangs it up, that's it. Like, I'll do this forever. I'll do this until the day I die. So there's hundreds of episodes there. Comb back through. There's bound to be a movie that we've covered that you've seen. So check it out. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, definitely, guys. It's a fun podcast. They got a great rapport with each other. If anything, one day you'll just run out of movies, I guess. I mean,
I
don't know.
No, there's no way. Like, we're hundreds in, and we haven't even done like Gremlins or Ghostbusters or Goonies. Like, all these movies that start with G. Did we do Ghoulies? Of course we did. Yeah. But the big ones we haven't even touched yet. So,
well, let me ask you, how do you choose? How do you choose from the vast pool?
So, okay. So the plan, and we deviate from time to time, is we pair it with seasonal things, or I just look through calendars. You know how it's like National Coffee Month. So then I have to find some movie that it takes place in a coffee shop or something like that. It's way more work than it's worth, but I really try and stick to that. So yeah, pretty much. Okay. Or every December we do a theme month. Like we did a Billy December. and I think we're doing a Bo Derek Sember this
Oh,
time. Yeah, because we watched Ghosts Can't Do It on our Patreon, and my God, I've never seen a movie that bad in my life. So we have to dig further into Bo Derek's filmography.
just talk to Andrew. Andrew sees a lot of shitty movies doing our show.
Well, in the course of preparation for the podcast, many boutique labels love to put out movies from the 80s, specifically slasher movies, horror movies, and man, that decade, people just made movies over and over again about everything. You know what I mean? Especially horror and slashers. It's like, just take that idea and just get your friends and film a bad movie in the woods. And there you go.
It's pretty incredible because I think people that are a little bit older than me, like I was still a kid, a pretty young kid in the 80s. People that are older than me probably are pretty surprised with the amount of, I would say, bad 80s movies that are getting this kind of wonderful treatment from boutique labels. And then there's me, who I kind of came up in the 90s, and I can't believe sometimes these movies, like flipping through the Criterion channel and seeing I Know What You Did Last Summer. I can't believe it. Like, that seems insane to me. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty fun that people our age are starting to get into these positions of, I'm going to say, physical media power, and they can bring these movies in and, show them to a brand new audience, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, and it's always interesting how, I know, Andrew, you love to talk about time, the passage of time.
Very much so.
How time can just change people's perspectives on some of these movies. Because, like, some people think movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer is dumb now. We thought it was pretty dumb then too. Like, it was pretty.
There's a lot of, I would say, even the opposite take, where there's a lot of reappraisals. I feel most movies, every like a decade after they come out, 2 decades, 3 decades, get a reappraisal. Like, new audiences find them, new audiences discover them, old audiences come back to them, especially movies that we watched when we were younger. We go back to them and see, do they hold up? Do they not hold up?
Oh yeah, that happens with relatively relatively modern movies. I mean, it's not that modern, but man, people love Jennifer's Body now. They love that movie. And when it came out, that was hot garbage to everyone. Everybody thought it was the worst thing ever. But I mean, I always kind of liked it, but man, people love that movie now. And you see examples of that all the time. So
but that's great, man. Like we said, please go check out his podcast, Good Times, Great Movies. Well, let's talk about some good movies tonight and have some good times.
Let's do it.
So we all, of course, picked a film. Usually I advertise this. I advertised the film we picked. I was lazy this week, guys. So it's all going to be new to you guys. So we'll start with our guest, of course. Please share with us the film you decided to watch for the first time in the collection.
Well, you sort of advertise. I mean, in advertising, do you mean talked about it on the previous episode? Because you did that. So that's
Did
great.
I talk about it? Okay.
You did. Yeah, you did.
Okay,
you did.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm saying, like, I didn't advertise what movie that I was gonna watch. I know I didn't advertise because I just picked it yesterday.
Yeah. You said you were gonna watch it the night before and choose it the night before. So that's great. I also like the fact that you asked me for mine in advance, because I wasn't sure how you did this, and not that we would double up, but I know you might not want to swim in one genre too much with the show with three of us. But anyway, here's mine. It's The Boogeyman, Vinegar Syndrome. What, just a few months ago, I believe this came out, maybe 6 months ago, something like that. Okay, so this movie, and with my pairing, I think it'll make more sense maybe why I chose this movie. The thing I have to say about this is I know we're on YouTube, but I know probably most people will see this, or hear this, not necessarily see it. But I have to sing the praises of the redesign, the new design slipcover that they created for this movie. It's designed by somebody named, hold on, I wrote his name down, Haunt Love, and he's done a good amount of stuff. He actually did where is it? I don't have it here. Yes, I do. He actually did I froze, didn't I?
A little bit.
There we go. Okay. He actually did the Devonsville Terror too, and you can see that these are very similar. I really love that pairing there. So he did this stuff. And the reason I bring this up is this movie's from, I think, 1980 or 1981. I love slashers. I love terrible 80s slashers. It's just a thing of mine.
You can't stay away from the 80s, can you?
No, I can't. I did not do this intentionally. I have to tell you, I did not choose this intentionally. This was the original cover, but without all this cool stuff around here, it was just the woman in the window. I remember seeing this VHS box and being instantly uninterested in this movie. Even if I went on, I think it's been on like Tubi forever. The thumbnail is that original poster and it looks horrible. It looks so uninteresting. I only bought this kind of because of the slipcover, because I thought it was so beautiful. And I did not know anything about this before watching it. Honestly, this is a total blind watch. Had no idea. But this is directed by, what's his name? Uli Lamel.
Okay.
I'm asking you as though you guys
yes, it is
super familiar with his work.
I've seen it, but I don't know that much about it.
No, that's okay.
I've seen the movie, so it is Uli Lamel.
Okay, yes, yeah. And it stars Susanna Love and Nicholas Love. He was in Twin Peaks for a brief stint there. This is a weird movie. Yeah. It's a weird, wonderful movie where I haven't seen much by this director, but he plays up childhood trauma in the few films I've seen from him. So
that opening scene, huh?
This opening scene where a young girl and young boy murder their mother's lover who's abusive to them. Like, he ties the kid to the bed. So the girl goes into the kitchen and gets a big butcher's knife, like horrible. And then her brother kills this guy. And then flash forward to insanity for the rest of this movie. Kind of. This movie can get a bit soggy in the middle, as some slashers do. But I will say, and I don't want to ruin anything, the last 10 minutes are bananas. Like, absolutely crazy. And there are certain things I fall for in movies, in cheesy horror movies. If you throw green and red light and blue light at stuff, I am a sucker for that. And that's what this movie has at the end. I still don't know what happens. I still don't know exactly what I watched. There's a demon in a mirror.
There's like a supernatural element to the slasher movie. Like, it's like,
yeah,
it's weird.
Go ahead.
It does play on the whole idea of, like, if you break a mirror, you're going to get some bad luck. But literally in this case, where there's a possessed mirror, and if you break it, you unleash hell, basically. Unleash a demon, you know? And
you unleash a demon that doesn't just torment you. It's almost as if they realized they had about a 52-minute movie here and they had to pad it out, because this demon just randomly kills sexy teens by the beach for no reason at one point.
It's the way it goes in a slasher movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's 80s slasher. They hated like young, attractive people. Just the killers hated young, attractive people, and maybe it was out of jealousy or out of whatever the case may be. But they always
they're just away from the parents.
Didn't like it. Yeah. I always said that 80s slasher films were the most anti-sex movies you've ever seen. They should have shown them in like abstinence classes. You know, like, this is what happens when you. That's what happens.
It doesn't matter, though. You're kind of watching these movies for the sex sometimes. So the message was not received, I guess.
Yeah, it's supposed to be exploitative, yet also could be a cautionary warning at the same time.
Exactly. But I do have to say, this movie's quick. It's like 80 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's really good. Like, it's just guilty pleasure fun. And it really is something that I'm going to say, for the middle 30 some minutes, you don't really have to pay attention. Like, this is the kind of movie, and this isn't really promoting it, I guess. You can kind of do dishes, you can do some housework, and if you hear screaming,
you got your TV near where you do dishes? Like,
no,
can you see it?
No, you have to run into the other room after you hear screaming and then just rewind real quick. But I really had fun with this. I didn't know what to expect. But like I said, the last like 10 minutes are crazy, because it's kind of not a slow burn, but it's a movie where not a whole lot is happening. And then at the end, it's just balls to the wall insanity. And I had a really, really good time with this thing. Tons of interviews with, cast. I think the writer was interviewed. The main actress, what's her name? Susanna Love. Her interview is like 45 minutes long. She at one point was married to the director. It's a very bizarre interview because she kind of laughs about how abusive and horrible he was as a person. It was a little tough to watch at times, but really interesting, as she was in a lot of his films. So that's my choice.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and then yeah, like you were, it's a great the transfer in that on that 4K is amazing looking too for that movie.
Yeah, you don't need this in 4K, but they did it, and
they did it.
Like I said, for those scenes at the end, it's much appreciated.
It must have been just that ending that they were like, okay, we just got to do the 4K. Yes, just do it.
Yeah, let's get through the rest of this just so we can really pump up those greens and reds at the end.
Yeah, just do it. It's only 84 minutes long. It's fine. Right. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm with you. I enjoyed it enough to buy it myself. I have it on the shelf over there. So, cool.
Yeah, I went through a bit of a Vincent phase there for a bit where I was just buying everything, but it didn't take me too long to realize like most of those movies are not for me. Yeah. For every Boogeyman and the Severed Arm, I really enjoyed the Severed Arm. There's so much really rough stuff to kind of get through. And I made it a point a few years back to just be like, I'm going to watch everything I own. Yeah. Before I buy more stuff, I'm just going to watch everything I own.
That's good commitment. Yeah. Because
it's strong willpower.
Yeah. I mean, I still have that Herschel Gordon Lewis box that I haven't gotten all the way through. But getting through that Vincent stuff was pretty rough at times, but this is a real treat.
That's good. Yeah. That's what we're trying to do here, man. We're trying to get through some of that collection. I'm going through that right now in my personal life too. I'm trying to stop myself and say, spend more time on your collection. Yeah. Watch stuff. Stop piling it up.
It's tough.
But I guess it's tough. Yeah. Because good really stuff's coming out all the time.
And I mean, no offense, Scott, your show's not helping me either. Like that's
not helping me either.
I'm listening to your show, taking notes, going, maybe 5 years from now I'll get this unless it's out of print.
You know what? Doing preparation work for the show is tough because you're going through all the details and all the announcements and all this kind of stuff, and it just amps up your want, your need to keep collecting.
That's why I stopped. That's why I just let Andrew do all the talking now. I'm just like, Andrew, just go ahead.
Just go ahead. It is kind of why I'm talking more about the movies than the releases themselves, because the releases, for what we get, are very, very good quality. Like you just mentioned, special features and cover art and all that stuff. I think now we need to talk about, like, are these movies worth buying? You know what I mean? Because they are expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And we're seeing prices go up and all that kind of stuff. Even the boutique market, mainstream stuff. But Stephen, who are you going to hand the reins off to next?
I guess you can go next, Andrew.
I was kind of okay, fine. So my movie is a movie I think I bought a long time ago, and it's been sitting on my shelf for many, many years. So luckily, I have the opportunity to talk about it. And this is The Life of Oharu, the Criterion Collection edition that came out, I think, 2013. So I may have had this on my shelf for 10 years, for all I know. That's how long these unwatched piles go back to. And the reason why I bought this probably at the time is because I think I had just discovered the works of the director Kenji Mizoguchi, who directed this film, but he also directed Ugetsu and Sancho the Bailiff, which also had been put out by Criterion at the time. So I probably scooped all of those up around the same time. And I just had this sitting there ever since. And this film is very interesting, and it's more, you'll be used to the style of it if you know Kenji Mizoguchi's work. I don't think this is a film that you start off with when it comes to his work. I have this thing with directors, you can't really start out with their most heaviest work, their most in-depth work, or else it could put you off or it could overwhelm you, or, whatever the case may be. It also depends on who you are as a viewer.
Unless it's Tarkovsky and you're just
They're
screwed.
all heavy.
You're
You know what I
screwed.
mean? Even Ivan
I
Childhood,
guess Stalker.
like stuff.
I guess me.
Yeah, it's like, where do you start off? Stalker, Solaris,
Andrei Rublev,
Andrei Rublev, which is forever long.
That is amazing you would bring that up, because this was years ago. A friend of mine, I was working with him, and he was really into film. I was just kind of getting into it, and he had Solaris, and he gives it to me. He's like, you might want to watch this. He's like, it's really, like, it's pretty heavy, but honestly, if you're having trouble falling asleep, it might be the movie that does it. I was hooked immediately. I was not a film snob at that point. That was like my gateway into this stuff, and I would not recommend anybody else starts with that movie, but it really worked for me. So
that probably is the most accessible one.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Ivan's Childhood is pretty.
Yeah.
But comparative to like Andrei Rublev or Stalker or
Stalker,
even like other stuff. But Life of a Horror, like I'm saying, is probably not the place to start. And it's tough to start with Mizoguchi. I've only seen about 4 or 5 of his films, because I'm just doing in my research, this was actually the 80th film out of 89 films that he directed. And apparently most of his early filmography was lost. One of those kind of tragic things where somebody's filmography is just gone, or just eras of cinema are gone, or portions of it are gone. And apparently that's what happened to him. And apparently he wasn't relatively appreciated until much later on in his career, towards the end. And of course, looking back in hindsight and all of those things. But Life of Oharu is a movie about a woman named Oharu, and she goes from being like part of the royal court, like a woman in waiting, to all the way being reduced down to the very lows of that time. And this was set in like the late 1600s, so 17th century, so feudal Japan, essentially, where you have samurai and shoguns and ronins and all this kind of stuff, and it's very feudalistic. And of course that society is all about standings, hierarchy and standings in society. And how her kind of life of kind of scaling down starts off is she falls in love with and starts an affair with someone who's of a lower class than her. I think he's just kind of like a regular soldier or something like that. I believe he was portrayed by Toshiro Mifune, of all people. And so it's a very small role for him at the time. And I believe this was 1952. So this was after Rashomon, but I believe before Seven Samurai and before Yojimbo and Sanjuro. So not quite to when we knew Toshiro Mifune as we know him now. But she has this affair with him, and then she gets found out by the authorities. And she and her family, specifically her family, just goes to show you that it's not just you that in this society that gets into trouble. Your whole family is involved. So her whole family's exiled. Her lover is executed. And then her life just tumbles from there. Her father basically sells her off to become a concubine for someone. And then that situation doesn't end up working out. Her father gets in much debt because he thinks that he's going to become rich. So therefore, he then sells her into the courtesan as a courtesan. Then she fails there, and then she goes back to her family, and then her life just kind of continues on a downward spiral from there to where she finally ends up, as someone who is kind of a street prostitute, a street sex worker of the time, which apparently during that time is kind of the low of the lows, if you will, and it's much disgrace to her and her family from where her family was to where she is now, and it's kind of like it's kind of a social commentary and kind of like. You're bringing your family down, but it's really society that's kicking you down because the way in which society is structured specifically about women. And that is kind of the main message of the film. And it's through really no fault of her own. She's just being pulled in every which way that the society and the patriarchal society that she lives in is kind of damning her, really. And the film itself, shot entirely in black and white, very slow moving. It's kind of episodical, where we're going from, like I said, situation to situation, and it kind of goes through a period of her life from her like late teens to the time where she's like 50 years old. The movie clocks in at about 136 minutes, so it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn of a movie, 2 hours and 15 minutes or so. And Kenji Mizoguchi, he's such a patient filmmaker in the way in which he slowly draws out his films and draws out his plots and just lets things languish. Not a lot of quick editing. Reminds me a lot of Ozu. Ozu was never really moved his camera, never really did a lot of editing and all that stuff. Kenji Mizoguchi reminds me of that, only his films are very depressing. You feel the doldrum. You feel the black and white.
I feel like that you just were mesmerized by this movie, because
I was mesmerized by just the melancholy of it all, the sadness of it all. It's one of those movies that after you're like, I really need something to lift me up after this. I need something, that'll
well,
give me
I can't wait to hear
energy.
the pairing if that's the case. I'm guessing you.
Yeah,
Dirty
yeah,
work.
That's why it was tough. It was tough to pair it, but I kind of figured out a pairing that works and is both the opposite of this, which we'll get to.
Oh, okay, that's
But
great.
obviously the usual Criterion edition, clear plastic case, the disc, the booklet here on the side. It does have a couple of special features as well. It's got two main ones. One is a Dudley Andrew on the life of Oharu, which is a video essay. One is a video essay that runs 19 minutes long that really goes into just like Mizoguchi's life and career, but also his influences when it comes to like Japanese theater and stuff like that, like kabuki theater and things like that, and also like like his like kind of life and work leading up to the life of Oharu. That's kind of where I learned where this was the 80th of 89 films that he directed. This guy Dudley Andrew also does a commentary on the film, and then there's the travels of Kinuyo Tanaka, who plays Oharu in the film. That runs about 32 minutes long, and it's just about the life and career of that actress, its ups and downs, and all of those things. Yeah, if you love Japanese cinema, definitely a high recommendation for me. If you're just getting into Japanese cinema, probably not the place where you should start. It feels like this would be like an upper level course in film school that you would watch something like this. But yeah, I very much I can't say I enjoyed watching it, but man, did I appreciate the beauty of its cinematic, filmmaking and things like that. Also wonderfully acted as well. So yeah, that's the life of Oharu. This did have a new restored high definition digital transfer at the time as well. I'm wondering if this will get a 4K from them. They haven't really delved into that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of their Japanese stuff is still waiting. I know we're still waiting for like a Seven Samurai 4K or something like that from Criterion. Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll get its treatment eventually.
Yeah. I remember watching it. I mean, your description kind of brought it back. I still would probably go with Sancho the Bailiff. Like that one that's a fascinating film. I absolutely love that. But yeah, I remember liking this. I mean, as much as you can like something that is as depressing as this, it was more, as you put it, sort of mesmerizing and beautiful in a kind of horrific way at times. But I remember really
and it has similar structure to Sancho the Bailiff, where I think Mizoguchi likes to tell these long, intricate stories that they're long in scope but very intimate in the way in which he delves into them. You know what I mean? They're usually about like a handful of people, or in this case, one person, and you're traveling with them throughout, kind of like Ugetsu. Ugetsu was a film that we had gone over in our previous podcast, Cinema Discovery Project, Stephen, and it was very.
I remember that,
and that was kind of very intimate. Also, a ghost story and appropriate for this time of year.
Yeah.
Awesome. Before we move on, a friend of ours, Ryan Verrill, says, "Evening, friends."
Evening, Ryan. Is that what we're responding? Okay.
I'm glad you keep track of that, Stephen, because I can't see any of that.
That and this is probably like morning for him. He's up all the time.
Oh, okay. Hey, how's Ryan's how's his new venture going?
From what I could tell, it's he's busy, and he said I talked to him recently, and he said that he's got a lot of good things in the works. So a lot of people reaching out. So that's very awesome. something Everybody's Favorite Productions, I believe is the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great thing. Can't wait to see the first release with his name and Will Dotson's name on it. So that'd be great.
No, that's wonderful. That's great.
Yes.
Excellent.
All right. So now this will be a surprise for everybody because I didn't tell anybody what I was going to watch.
I don't even know this, so I can't spoil it either.
Yeah, I know, right? So,
do you normally spoil it? Is that normally what happens?
So the first episode returning back to this, I told him what my pick was beforehand, and then he started playing this guessing game with the. What he did was he spoiled the pairing. He spoiled
by guessing what it was.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So this time I can't even do that.
He can't even. Yeah. So, but Ryan says something else. It's going crazy. Too much happening all at once.
Okay.
Someone's favorite productions. There's a little more advertisement for him right there. There you go. But the one I decided to go with, I wasn't looking for anything particular. I just kind of looked through my collection. I was like, what haven't I watched? And I decided to go with something. I guess you could say in a sense it's more meditative, like your pick, Andrew. Not as meditative as the Boogeyman, but
what is really
what it really is, but in a way it's kind of like, I would say, a little bit on that because it's the plot's not really heavy. It's more about characters and what they're going through and things. But I went with a film from the director Bill Forsyth, and that is Housekeeping. This is a film put out by Indicator, I think a couple years ago. But this was Bill Forsyth. He's done films like Local Hero, which is also got an Indicator release, I believe. He did Gregory's Girl. I think Warner Archive might have put that out. But I've seen this, and I've seen Local Hero, and after watching this, I can tell I'm starting to get an idea of the style that Bill Forsyth has. He's very much he loves human stories. He kind of like a Mike Lee type. Human stories, real people. He takes his time with his characters. He likes to set them in small towns. That's these two movies that I've seen so far. Small town place, likes to keep it very narrow focused. And in this film, Housekeeping, you have these two sisters. One of them named Ruth, one of them named Lucille. And at the beginning of the film, this ain't no spoiler, their mother commits suicide. And so they're orphans. Somebody has to watch them. So I think initially their grandmother takes them in, but then she passes away, and then they start to get looked after by their aunt, their mom's sister. And she's kind of estranged. She's kind of a black sheep of her family. And, she's a little odd. But she's there, and she decides to take on watching the kids. And throughout the film, you think the movie's going to go in one direction, kind of like a hijinksy, she's kind of quirky. What are the kids going to learn from her? And you start to get this idea that the film's a lot more about, not taking life too seriously, not allowing yourself to get caught up in all the hardships of life. There's a few different situations where most people would go crazy. Like, for instance, there's kind of a famous scene of that's in the picture here. The house floods. They have this big rainstorm that floods the area, and it floods the house. And instead of her going crazy, she just acts like it's no big deal. And that's part of the quirk of her character. She kind of, enjoys everything to an extent. And this film was, it started out kind of slow for me. I wasn't getting into it until the aunt really starts getting into the picture. It really started to pick up. The lead actress, Christine Laud, I think is her name. She's fantastic. You can tell, that her character has a lot of sadness, but that she works through that sadness because she has to, and knows that there's no other better way to live life but to live it free, live it, and be happy with what you have. And, throughout the film, a lot of people judge her. The town judges her. They keep trying to find reasons to take the kids away from her. And the kids, you know, specifically the I believe the younger one, actually becomes very much endeared to her and you know, looks up to her, and they become close, and it's kind of a delightful movie. You know, it's not in any like real comical way. There's comical moments, but it's just got this very endearing quality to it that I think Bill Forsyth that's his thing. He's really good at, you know, shaping characters to where you can feel like you might know somebody like that, and putting them in situations where you feel like that I've seen that, you know, and yeah, I thought this was a nice film. I really liked it. Anybody else here seen Housekeeping?
Yeah, I've seen it, and yeah, it's a sort of endearing film, but it's not sappy in any way, and the characters feel real. Like you said, the movie starts kind of with a suicide, and that is not the movie I thought I was going to see, and then I thought I was in for something that was going to be very depressing. So it's not the movie you think it's going to be, but again, it's not uplifting and heartwarming. It's real, like you said. It just feels real. All the characters feel, as you said, like people, you know. This all seems like events that could actually happen to people. Nothing seems fantastical or anything, but it's like, it's not fantastical in the way where it like borders on a Cat in the Hat scenario almost, but it never quite gets there.
Well, it's all the actual comedy feels like just real, like human moments that are funny. You know, like there's another kind of scene that gets brought up is one of the girls' birthdays, and she's got the birthday cake, and she lights the birthday cake with like a piece of newspaper, and then like kind of brushes it off to the side, and then she sets the curtains on fire, and they're singing happy birthday, and the kids are like, the fire, you know, and then she just keeps singing happy birthday while trying to put out the fire, you know, and it's kind of funny that she kind of just is like, happy birthday to, you know, so that's part of her quirk, her charm, that she just, even though that something crazy like this is happening, she still wants to keep the moment going. It's her, you know, her niece's birthday, you know, and it's a nice movie. I really, I feel like it's something I would like to watch again too, because like I can't, you know, on the first watch, I'm just in there and I'm like trying to figure out this movie. And now that I kind of understand what type of movie it is, I could go back and appreciate more of what the director maybe had subtly dropped in there in different scenes.
I think your Mike Lee comparison is on point.
Yeah,
definitely. So if you like that style, I think you should check this out, definitely.
And this is almost a purely woman film. Like it's like there's barely any men in this film. It's kind of more of a woman's perspective from a male director, but you know, I'd like to hear more women's opinions on this film. That would be nice. But it very much feels like it's very female centric, and thought that was nice. I thought that was nice, a nice touch in there. And then, but you know, I'd love to talk about the ending. The ending was really impactful and like stuff like that. Of course, I don't want to spoil that for anybody, but I definitely would recommend this film and other Bill Forsyth films. Local Hero is really good. That one's probably plays up the comedy a little bit more. But yeah, this was hard to pair something. It was a little bit hard to find the right pairing for this, but I think I picked something good. So we'll get back around to that. But let's circle back around. Let's get to Doug's pairing for The Boogeyman.
So here's what I'm going to say. I listened to your show, and anytime you've done this, and you know, you guys get on here and you have these really creative and interesting and fun pairings. And I kind of I didn't want to be so obvious with my pairing, but I couldn't not be, because I need to sing this film's praises. Okay, so we're not leaving Vinegar Syndrome. We're not leaving this director. We're not even leaving this lead actress.
Whoa.
I'm going to make a statement here, and big Vinegar Syndrome heads out there, I'm sorry, this is a bold statement. This is the best film Vinegar Syndrome has ever put out. Ever.
Oh.
I'll put it up against Beastmaster, Cloak and Dagger, whatever else they did. It is
Showgirls.
Olivia.
All right.
Olivia, same director, same actress, the year after The Boogeyman.
Okay.
This movie is incredible. First of all, childhood trauma to start, of course. A young girl, her mother is a prostitute, and she watches her through a keyhole, accidentally murdered by a John. Flash forward, this young girl grows up, and she's in a pretty rough relationship, like an abusive sort of relationship with I think the guy's a factory worker or something like that. And then her mother's ghost appears to her and said that she must avenge her by seducing men and killing them. And she's basically like, sounds good. So she goes on a tear of this. And this, I'm going to talk I'm going to go through so much of the plot, but understand that I'm only going to talk about maybe the first half of this movie. So she's just killing guys, talking to her dead mom, getting beat up by her husband. It's a real rough life. And she is disposing of one of these bodies right near London Bridge. And she meets an American who is there in town because he is heading the project to dismantle London Bridge, to take it to Arizona and reconstruct it there. And he's a really nice guy. And they kind of just part ways, of course, as she's disposing of a dead man's body off the bridge. Flash forward again, this guy goes to Arizona to sort of check out the bridge and how it looks. Like, years have gone by, it's been put together, and he sees a woman giving tours that looks just like this woman that he met in London. She has left her abusive husband, maybe. It might not even be her. This is the closest thing Vinegar Syndrome or this director is going to get to a Hitchcock movie, because it's not as sleazy as you thought it was. It really does sort of turn into a mystery Hitchcockian type movie.
So it's like somewhere between Hitchcock and De Palma or something.
Yes. Yeah, very, very much so. And then it gets absolutely bananas. Like, then after all this stuff that happens, and we've kind of settled into a film where he's talking to her and she's like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm not that woman, sort of a whole Vertigo thing. It gets nuts. It's absolutely crazy. I fell in love with this movie. I did not know what I was going to watch. I watched it instantly. I found it fascinating. So when I said I bought this because of the cover design, that's only half correct. When I found out that the same director and lead actress did these two movies, I was hooked. This is a great movie. I know the limited edition with the slip is not available anymore. But I think the standard edition might be, and I can't believe it. It's been on their site for years. I can't believe this thing is not sold out yet. So everybody needs to check this out. I have not, it might be streaming. I haven't seen it. I don't think it's quite as popular as some other slashers that Vinegar Syndrome puts out. I know a lot of their stuff does end up on Tubi. I don't know if this is there. But if that sounds remotely like something that you're interested in, I wholeheartedly recommend this movie. If I had to give away every Vinegar Syndrome I own, please just don't take this one from me. I love it.
All right. Well, that's a good sell, man. I got to find it and watch it now.
Yeah.
I got to do it. So
awesome. I know it's very on the nose, and I wanted to get clever. I wanted to get creative, but I couldn't. I haven't had a chance to ever talk about this movie, so this was it.
Sometimes you're gonna find a movie. I mean, it's all a toss-up. You're watching something for the first time, and either you're gonna be inspired, and your mind's gonna go to a movie that maybe is very smart pick, or it's gonna be, our friend Dan, who was on last time, he just kind of, I think, maybe picked the same director, like you just
he
did.
went with,
did he?
Yeah,
he went with To Live and Die in L.A., and then he paired it with The French Connection.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
So I remember nothing wrong with that.
No,
sometimes you go with what feels right, and sometimes you might think a little harder.
Yeah.
And if a movie connected with you on the first watch that much that you're like, wow, the themes really make me think about this other movie here. Sometimes that doesn't happen though. So because you only get so much time to get ready for this.
Oh, you gave me plenty of time.
I did.
Don't give me excuses. Don't dare.
My bad. My bad. I guess I'm just thinking to myself where I only gave myself a day.
Right. Well, you did that to yourself. Like
I did.
That's your own fault.
I did. I know. All right, man. That's a great, man. I got to check it out. So,
check it out.
Andrew.
Yes.
What is it, man? Tell us what it is.
Okay. So I racked my brain a bit about what to pair it with. I initially told Steven that I had an idea that I was going to go with before I watched the movie. And then even afterward, there were some other things I was going to pair it with.
Can I guess?
Sure. I mean, why not? I don't think you're going to get it, but sure.
Okay.
What label? Wait, is this a game? Are we doing a game now?
Manchester by the Sea.
No, it's not. There's it this way.
Slightly lighter than
Although it's slightly in terms of depressing, yeah.
I just know that's a depressing movie that you like. So
I was thinking about that movie the other day because it was actually a question on Jeopardy. They had a whole category of like, I think it was best screenplay Oscar winners. It was a category on Jeopardy, and Manchester by the Sea was one of the answers. Nailed that whole category, by the way. So for those of you who are impressed, I'm just doing.
There's been times where I've called him and tried to talk to him about something. He's like, "Yeah, I'll talk to you after Jeopardy." I'm like, "Fucking old man."
If it's 7:30 at night, Monday through Friday, don't contact me.
This is shocking to me because I assumed you did nothing but watch movies. Like, just listen to your show every time when you're like, yeah. I watched that on YouTube last night, and every single movie that comes up, you're like, yeah, this week, just in preparation, I was able to dig this up, and
that's all he does.
It's amazing.
Set for 7:30 to
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, I'm watching Jeopardy. Usually my movie watching takes place very much late at night. I like the solace of the nighttime, really, just to.
I'm an old man. I can't make it past like 10 o'clock most nights now. It's really rough. I used to be able to do it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that schedule, I guess.
He's gonna fall asleep. We better hurry up.
Yeah.
Seriously, like get as many movies in as you can before you hit 45. Like that's it, man. You hit 45. That's when you got a real shift.
Yeah, I've noticed that amongst our generation, as the older we've gotten, the earlier our bedtime seemed to get for many. But the movie I picked, actually, I don't know if anybody would have guessed this, but it's The Life and Death of Colonel
That's what I was going to say. Colonel Blimp, yeah.
The Michael Powell, Emmerich Pressburger film. And the reason why I chose this film is because I was thinking along the lines of structure, really. I was thinking of, first thing I thought was, what is a movie that, takes place over a significant part of someone's life, goes through all the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs. In Life of Oharu, it's pretty much all downs, but just in general, like, how is that structured? But also, what is a little extra something that may be different than the Life of Oharu, but still similar? And I was thinking of The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp because the movie stylistically is the complete opposite of The Life of Oharu. I mean, it's a movie that it's shot in Technicolor. It's shot with vibrancy. It's done with so much energy in it. The lead character in the film has so much more going on with him and so much more energy. He's larger than life. For those of you who don't know the plot of this movie, it takes place over 40 years, from I think 1902 to 1942. So early part of the 20th century, and it's about this character of Clive Candy, which is already an extensive name. Clive Candy, you know what I mean? It sounds made up. You know what I mean? It sounds larger than life.
Making me think of Django Unchained.
Yeah,
Calvin Candy.
Yeah, Calvin Candy from Django Unchained. And you see just this military man military men are already kind of larger than life people in general in fictional terms. I mean, I'm thinking of General Patton with George C. Scott. I'm thinking of, other war films and whatnot. But this whole film has beautiful Technicolor. Deborah Carr is in the film, who's one of our most vivacious redheads to ever be put on screen. So she just glows on screen in the Technicolor. I mean, it's just a movie that is such the opposite in just energy from the Life of Oharu. Life of Oharu is so intimate, so like doldrum, just down in the dumps types of movie. And this one is telling a expansive lifelong story, but doing it completely the opposite way. So that's why I paired between the two. It also gives me a chance to talk about the life and death of Colonel Blimp, which although I think many, studious film fans know Michael Powell and Eric Pressburger, but they know Red Shoes, Black Narcissus. I mean, they probably know Michael Powell from Peeping Tom and films he had done later on and whatnot. But Life and Death of Colonel Blimp predates all of those films. This came out in 1943, and I believe those others came out after that, if memory serves. And this was actually probably like the first Michael Powell and Eric Pressburger film that I ever watched. And then I went and saw Black Narcissus. Then I went and saw the Red Shoes. So if anything, this started off my kind of love of their work and my need to collect their work and delve into them and all that kind of stuff. And I've had this edition in my collection, I think, since it came out. And also, coincidentally, 2013. There's a decade trend going on here. I don't know why. I mean, maybe I just think back on fonder days about a decade ago. But yeah, this is a really fantastic film. It is a bit of a long film, 163 minutes, but you probably will not feel it like you feel the 2 hours and 15 minutes with Life of Oharu. This film moves a lot more. I mean, it's just that type of biopic. And I know that specifically if you're a big fan of Martin Scorsese, I mean, he took a lot from Michael Powell and Eric Pressburger. He knew Michael Powell very intimately. They were friends. Thelma Shoemaker was married to Michael Powell, and she's edited like every single one of his films since I think 1980. So I think from like a Raging Bull on. I mean, so he even does an intro for this edition here. You know what I mean? He's very much involved in restoring the Red Shoes and all that kind of stuff. So if you're a fan of Martin Scorsese, I think you'll find very much a kinship with Michael Powell and Eric Pressburger's work. I mean, that just seems to what I've observed over these years. Yeah. So yeah, this is, I think an essential criterion at this point, in my opinion. Put this right up there with Red Shoes and 400 Blows and Breathless in my humble opinion. So yeah, that's why I chose Life and Death of Colonel Blimp.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say, I was the exact opposite of you. This is probably the most recent Powell Pressburger film I've seen. I think I started with the Red Shoes, and then I went to Black Narcissus after that, and so on and so forth. That film's a pure delight. It is really wonderful, and I did not know what I was getting into when I put it on, and it doesn't have the same fanfare that those other films do. So if anybody out there slept on this because of that, you're really missing out. This is truly an amazing film, and one that should get just as much attention, if not more, than some of those other ones.
Yeah, and it's done in a very kind of well-known story structure where you start off at the end or the later on of someone's life, and then you look back at like the events that led up to that moment. And the movie Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, not really a spoiler, like starts with him being captured while he's in like a Turkish bath. Like that's how the movie starts, like with a bang, really. And it's just has great energy to it, really well acted. I mean, Deborah Carr plays three different portions of Colonel Blimp's life in the film, and this was my introduction to her as an actress, and it was just such a first for me in so many different ways. So that's why I've always gravitated towards that movie. I've always recommended it to people too. For people who just want to start a Criterion collection right off the bat, Life and Death of Colonel Blimp is a great way. I mean, it is billed as like one of the greatest British films ever made, and I feel like that people need to know that more. If it has that moniker, people kind of need to know that it exists.
Yeah, it is surprising that it came to Criterion sort of so much later after I know it's 2013, but I feel like, the Red Shoes, I don't know. How long has that been in the collection? 2004? Like, I feel like it's been there a long, long time.
The irony that you say that is that it is spy number 173. So it must have been a DVD.
Yeah. Okay.
Just not a DVD with a lot of fanfare.
Yeah. Then I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking just about Blu-ray upgrades and the fact that those other two got it.
I was going to say the same thing about like A Matter of Life and Death is another one that I really love, and that kind of got it released later on.
I was so happy when they finally released that film. That's another great film for those of you who are interested in more like great British cinema.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
So, Steven,
love it, man.
What is your pairing? I'm curious about this one. I have no guesses for this one.
Well,
I haven't
yeah.
seen
You haven't seen the movie,
come
so
on.
it's kind of
all
hard.
right. What label? What label? Let's start with the label.
It's not from a label. I mean, it's from a studio. It's not. It's not.
Is this
not
a movie you made as a child or something?
I know. Imagine.
I mean, I guess I could have done that. No. But no, this is kind of more of a major studio release.
Okay.
But
guess that counts.
So as I said about
counts as a movie.
This isn't chasing labels, motherfucker. This is Unwatched Pile. But so as I said about Housekeeping, it's a film about two orphan girls that have to they end up living with their kind of estranged aunt, and she's kind of quirky, and they have an unorthodox relationship that has kind of, I would say, positive vibes towards the end. I mean, it's in a way, it's kind of a sad movie, but it's also got a positiveness to it. So when I was thinking about what kind of film I was wanting to pair it with, my first thought was films about young children who have to go stay with some estranged relative, or some estranged relative comes to their house and they are meeting a relative for the first time and don't really, one movie that came to mind was like Uncle Buck. Like I could do Uncle Buck, and that would be kind of interesting. That would work. Funny enough, I don't have that in my collection, so I couldn't use it. I couldn't do that. I was like, I don't have Uncle Buck. So I put that one aside. So I had to rack my brain more about, and that's part of the challenge is you got to look in your collection and be like, what works? And so this one, I found this one. I was like, this one really works. But what it does is it shifts the kind of scenario a little bit. In this film, you have a kid who is being, let's see if you can guess it. This is a kid that's being dropped off by what you consider a bad mother to her two kind of long lost uncles, or I guess they're not, I guess they're uncles, but they're both very kind of out there. And by the end of this film, it's like he kind of teaches them something. In this case, except for the other way around in Housekeeping. In this film is Secondhand Lions.
Wow.
Have you seen it? Anybody seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Never seen it? Andrew, I know you've seen it, right?
I've not seen it, no.
You've never seen
But I know of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember seeing the previews, and
Yeah.
I remember when it came out. But yeah, I've never seen it.
All right, so this stars Michael Caine, Robert Duvall, Haley Joel Osment. So a great cast. And Michael Caine and Robert Duvall they're living on this ranch in Texas, and they're known for being kind of crazy kooks. And apparently there's stories all around town. Once again, kind of a small town story, that these guys used to go on these great adventures, and they have this like kind of hidden treasure on their farm. They have this vast wealth that they just don't know where it is. People like wonder where did this vast wealth come from? Well, it's a mystery. And that's part of the story. And Haley Joel Osment's character comes to stay with him and kind of just, gets to know his like in Housekeeping, gets to know parts of his family that they never knew. And as the story goes on, it's just, I wanted to pick something that was a little bit more accessible, maybe. If I was pairing this with something, Housekeeping is a little bit of a slow burn. And this film, Secondhand Lions, is a little bit more accessible. It's more, the comedy is more accessible. Of course, there's maybe more actors that you would maybe be more keen to wanting to check out because they're in it. Robert Duvall, Michael Caine, faces that and in this film, it's a delightful movie. It's when you got these kind of like, stick in the mud, two old dudes that just don't like to do what any, young kid coming in kind of messing up their situation. They don't want them there, but they slowly realize that the kid has value and that maybe they could teach him something. But in the process, they realize that the kid could teach them more about opening up and not being so, stuck in their ways. Because throughout the whole movie, they're getting salesmen coming to their house trying to get them to buy stuff because they know that these guys have money, and they keep like shooting at them and things like that. And the whole idea of this lion comes into play, where the kid eventually tells him, they tell him about their adventures and how they got this money, and he says, well, you should spend some of the money. And so they buy a lion. And the lion lives on the farm, and instead of them, they look at it as a way for them to maybe like hunt the lion and kill the lion, which is of course terrible. But the lion ends up not being like fierce at all. He ends up being kind of like a lazy dog. And so it becomes Haley Joel Osment's pet. And so it's once again, like it pairs up. It's a sweet movie. It's funny. It's small town. It's got quirky relative characters. I think it really fits good as a good pairing with Housekeeping. And yeah, that's it. I wish I could talk about it with you guys more. I was hoping one of you guys saw it.
I remember when it came out. Came out in 2003, which I probably saw the trailer in the movie theaters at the time. Probably saw like TV spots for it and stuff, and I just never saw it. And it's kind of probably drifted off into obscurity years since.
Yeah, I remember
everything.
Yeah, I remember thinking like it seemed, and I'm not not saying this is the case. It seemed sappy, kind of schmaltzy. I remember that's what I was thinking at the time. But no, never saw it, and I don't even know that I ever met anyone who saw. I mean, not like no one's ever talked to me about it. I know, like, you're really opening my eyes.
It's a nice movie. It's I mean, like I could never sit here and say like you have to see this movie, but it's like it's a solid movie. It is schmaltzy a little bit at times.
I mean, but Michael Caine and a lion, I'll watch that.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. What would make it even better is if the lion talked and it was Liam Neeson doing the voice.
Right,
Aslan.
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Which I think came out probably around that same time as well. I don't really remember. But yeah, the Blu-ray for that came out in 2009 by Warner Brothers. So yeah, it's been on shelves ever since. I've probably seen it on shelves at stores and whatnot. And I mean, when stores still had movies.
So Steven, has that been sitting on your shelf for
quite some time?
I mean, this one I'd seen, I'd seen. This wasn't the first time I obviously had seen.
Oh, you're just pairing. Sorry. Oh,
it's my pair. Yeah,
I forgot I forgot what the show was about.
I forgot the concept. Right. But it's got some features on it. It's got some little bit of stuff. It's not too crazy. It's got a commentary by the director on here, which is always nice. But yeah, it's a nice little small movie that it's like what we call like a Sunday afternoon watch, like a nice watch. You don't have to like be super paying attention to every detail, but there's always going to be something entertaining that happens. Robert Duvall is going to say something obscene because he didn't give a shit. Like that's the kind of movie it is. It's fun. It's like Odd Couple in a way, the two.
All right. I like that.
So yeah, it's a good little watch. So that is my pairing with Housekeeping. Yes, that's it. That's on Watch Pile.
That is on Watch Pile number 5.
Yeah.
Guys, we did it. That was wonderful. Thank you. I really this is great. I mean, it's been a very long time since I've been here. It's always fun. Have me back for a regular episode.
Of course, man.
I'll sit here while Andrew talks about movies.
That's what I do.
I'm fine with that.
That's what I do.
I've seen Steven start to nod off, and I'm like, am I not entertaining? Is this like Gladiator? I got
it's not really you. It's me. It really is me. It's having a 1-year-old now, and my job doesn't get any easier. So at my real life job, not this fantasy job that I have. So it doesn't get any easier.
No, very true. No, but yeah, we talked a little bit about it on the previous episode of Chasing Labels. That you were one of our earlier guests.
Yeah,
back episode number 34, which seems like forever ago.
Well, you guys are in what 100 something now, right?
117.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, wow. It feels a lot more than that, though. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody out there.
We're gonna bring you back for 134. How about that?
Oh, I'm totally fine with that.
So then we just do the 34s.
That's right.
Nice.
Okay, I'll do that, and I'll wait for on Watch Pile 34. I'll be back for that one too.
Well, this is 5. So
yeah, no, it'll be here before we know
we'll
it.
do 15 with you, and then we'll do 25.
Oh, okay. So we're not going the same numbering
intervals,
system.
gotcha.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're
that's
not
fine.
going to 34s anymore with this. You know, we're on 5.
All right, that's fine. I'll be back.
There
for
is no
10.
rhyme or reason for what I do.
Okay.
But it was a pleasure, of course, having you back, man. And yes, we will bring you back on Chasing Labels.
Yeah, it's always fun to listen to you guys. You are you're doing a service, and you are destroying people's wallets and bank accounts, and
I hope not.
Including our own.
You know, I hope
including our
right,
own.
exactly. No,
every time I think about this show, I'm like, I think about the scene in Wedding Singer with John Lovitz, and he's like, he's losing his mind, and I'm reaping all the benefits. Like, I think about that about myself. I'm like, I'm losing my mind.
No,
I'm not reaping the benefits.
No, honestly, guys, this is really great. I love listening to you, and
Thank you.
yeah, I'm happy you guys had me back on. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. And
Yeah,
of course,
sure.
once again, please go check out Doug's show. Good Times, Great Movies. It's a blast. They have a good time over there. Sometimes you guys just crack me up.
Oh, it's almost Halloween season, and our show comes out every other Friday. There's a Friday the 13th in October. I am so excited to talk about Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Crispin Glover dancing. It's the greatest thing ever captured on film.
Jeez. Okay, guys. Yes, please tune in for that one. That's we're building it up here. It better be good.
It better be okay. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It's talking about that movie. But of course, guys, thanks everybody for listening. Please, this will be not only here on YouTube, but also audio form here in a few days. So please leave us some of your most recent unwatched movies that you've finally watched. Let us know. What did you think of our pairings? Did you like Boogeyman and Olivia? Did you like that? Have you watched that pairing? Did you love it? I know I will. I can't wait. So thanks everybody, and go watch some shit. What are you doing here?
Good way to end.
Yeah, that's what I always do.
We just wave then at the end.
It's Beverly Hillbillies.
waved.